Hello, and welcome to my channel, The Entrepreneurial Mindset. My name is Jay Berman. I am your host, and today's presentation is titled How to Write a Business Plan. So here is the outline for a typical business plan, the table of contents. Number one, executive summary. Number two, business model and strategy. Number three, industry analysis. Number four, marketing plan. Number five, operating plan. Number six, management team. And number seven, financial plan. Now, the business plan has a certain writing style in order to make it easy to read. So these are my recommendations. It should be double spaced. Uh, it should be in paragraph form. So each paragraph should not be more than 5 sentences. In terms of font, you don't need anything special or fancy. Arial or Times New Roman is certainly fine and professional. The font size, I recommend 12. Again, it makes it easy to read. The length should be anywhere between 10 to perhaps 20 pages. Could be more than 20 pages, certainly depending on the complexity of the business plan, the opportunity that you're presenting to investors. But generally speaking, for most people, 10 to 20 pages should be sufficient. And definitely, by all means, proofread for grammar and spelling errors. Please don't rely on spell check alone. Now, every business plan has a title page. So your business name, and if you have a logo, by all means, put that on the title page. The title, your business name logo should be centered in the middle of the page. There should be contact information that would be in the lower right-hand corner of the page, and it should include your full name, a working address, your cell phone number, an email address, and if you have a website, certainly put down the website address. Now, your working address should be some sort of, it could be a home address where you have your home office, or it could be a rented office space. I don't recommend using a post office box as your working address. By all means, use your cell phone. There's no reason to get a second cell phone just for business. An email should be, professional. It should contain your business name. So it could be, say, for example, j@jbcompany.com, or it could be, jbcompany@gmail.com. But definitely have some sort of professional email that contains your business name. And again, if you have a website address, put that as well. So what are some of the reasons for writing a business plan? Well, my recommendation would be you want to write a business plan because you want to explain why your business idea you think is an investment in terms of your money and, of course, your time. You want to justify why your idea is better than current options. You want to clarify the serious opportunity you offer investors. And for most people, their investors, potential investors are going to be family and friends. So a business plan is a nice document that you can give them and say, here's an opportunity, please read my business plan. So if they have any questions, they can refer to the business plan. A business plan also allows you to plan out all the details and the costs of managing your business. It can also allows you to forecast the profits required for a high rate of return that your investors are going to expect. And by all means, the audience for a business plan is, of course, it's you. It could be your co-founders, anybody you want to go into partnership with, certainly your investors, and of course the banks most likely will require a business plan, particularly banks that are affiliated with the Small Business Administration that administer the SBA loans will require a business plan. Okay, so the first part of the business plan is called the executive summary. Should be no more than 3 pages. Again, it could be 1, 2, or 3 pages. That's your choice. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to highlight what's in the business plan. And for most people, it should probably be written last, because once you write the full business plan, you have all the details, and in the executive summary, you can highlight what the opportunity is for your investors and for the banks. In other words, you want to make the executive summary as compelling enough to persuade banks and investors to read the whole business plan. Because that's the first thing they'll read. Investors and banks, they'll just read the executive summary, and if they're not impressed, then they're not going to read the rest of the business plan, and then you won't get funding. So definitely want to make it as compelling, as interesting, as serious as possible. Next, number 2 is the business model and strategy. So the first thing you want to write about is the mission statement. In other words, you want to describe your business model by summarizing the good or service you plan to offer. Next would be the vision statement, which is your purpose and core values. In other words, why is it important for you to start this business, and why is it important for potential customers to consider buying your product and potential investors to invest in your new company, and why banks should loan you the money that you need to start your business. The corporate strategy is pretty simple. If you just decide on what industry you want to compete in, and then within that industry, you have a business strategy. So in other words, how will you compete in that industry? And you have 3 choices. You can be B2B, which stands for business to business. In other words, you are business selling to other businesses. So think of yourself as selling, perhaps you are a wholesaler, selling to retail stores. There's B2C, business to consumer. Perhaps you're owning your own retail store, either in a downtown area or a strip mall or in a shopping mall. So you'll be a retailer, you're selling directly to consumers. Or you can be C2C, which is consumer to consumer, which is what we define e-commerce. In other words, you're selling through a website, or perhaps you're selling on websites like Amazon.com, Etsy, Pinterest, those type of websites. Next, number 3, industry analysis. Here you're trying to explain what is the opportunity, what is the innovation that you're bringing to the industry. In other words, you want to diagnose the problem that you see in this particular industry, and also to analyze what is the dissatisfaction with current solutions and options, and why you're offering a better solution or a better option. Your industry analysis should include the industry size. In other words, the number of people, 5 million, 10 million, 25 million, whatever that number is. It should also be framed in dollar amounts. So is it a 5 billion industry, 25 billion industry, 50 billion? Again, whatever that number might be. What is the industry growth rate? In other words, is the industry growing? Is it stagnant, or is it actually a decline? And also any impact regarding demographic trends. For example, people are living longer. Perhaps your market is older folks. And because people are living longer, people are living to their 80s and 90s. So that's a positive trend. You're selling to older folks. If you're selling to young families, understand that people are having fewer children. The average family now has maybe 2 kids, whereas decades ago the average was 6 or 7 kids. So that you have to be aware of demographic trends. People are getting married later in life. That might impact, if you're a wedding photographer, for example. You want to also discuss the barriers of entry for startups, new companies, and also what are the core competencies that you need as a company to compete in that particular industry. So let's talk about the barriers to entry. The biggest barrier for the vast majority of people who want to start their own businesses is money. It's a financial barrier. In other words, there are 2 types of money. The money required to launch the business, which is the startup cost, and the amount of money you need to actually manage a business is what we call, working capital. So you have to decide, how much money do you need to start the business? Is it $500? Is it $5,000? Is it $50,000? Is it $100,000? For a lot of people who have to raise, a fair amount of money to start a business, that's just not feasible. So, there's a huge financial barrier to entering, to starting a business, to entering an industry. There might be legal barriers such as licenses, regulations, taxes. There might be location barriers. A lot of cities and towns have zoning laws that do not permit people to start businesses in certain areas. There might be competition. There might be a major barrier. For example, there may be too many competitors. In other words, it's a very fragmented industry. There are a lot of large and small competitors, or you can be entering a consolidated industry where there aren't a lot of small companies, where the industry is dominated by a few large competitors who simply have, the financial resources that you do not have, or the marketing firepower for that matter. And then, of course, there's the service and suppliers. Hopefully they're reliable. So when you need delivery of merchandise, it's delivered to you on time. And also, are they affordable? So you have to kind of ask your supplier, what are their terms and conditions? Let's say you need to buy $25,000 of merchandise. They may ask for 20% down, and the rest they want paid in 30, 60, or 90 days. So you need to find out what the terms of conditions are if you need to buy, inventory, merchandise, whether that's going to be affordable for you. And then you have to figure out, what are the core competencies. And this is where having industry experience is extremely, extremely important. For example, if you want to start a cafe or a restaurant, it's a good idea to at least have some experience in one of those industries. Either as a barista if you're going to start a cafe, a general manager if you're going to start a restaurant, those type of things. You really should need to have industry experience, or if you're going to provide any kind of software services, have you done that before is extremely important. Having that work experience, education, maybe management experience. So let's take the hotel industry, for example. I've been in the hotel industry for the last few years. So if you want to, let's say you want to open up a hotel. What core competencies do you need? Well, number one, you need a property management system to keep track of reservations, people coming and going, payments, how are they going to pay you? Room inventory, which rooms are clean, which rooms are dirty, which rooms are out of order. And then, of course, the room keys. You need to have some sort of employee training. So you are hiring hospitable front desk associates, and of course, good housekeepers, because when people arrive at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they want a clean room. So you want to make sure you have a good staff of housekeepers. You want to have management training. You want to have a strong management team that's going to be going to have the ability and the expertise to manage the hotel, manage the staff, and also to market the hotel. And then, of course, you should have some sort of accounting system so you keep track of revenues and expenses to decide, whether your hotel is making any money or not. Now we're on to number 4, the marketing plan. Now, the marketing plan is going to be about 50% of your business plan. So this is really the meat of the business plan. I would highly recommend that you take a course, an intro course in marketing. If you don't know anything about marketing, I will in the future have a marketing course on this channel. But in the meantime, maybe go out and get a marketing textbook or some sort of marketing book, because there's so many ways to market your business, particularly now with social media and things like that. So the first thing you need to think about when it comes to your marketing plan is, who is your target audience? Who is your target market? In other words, a profile of your potential customers according to income, because you want to market to people who can afford your goods or services. The age, are they adults? Are they children? Are they teens, young adults, families, couples? Do they have an interest in your product, your good or service? Does season or climate or weather impact whether people are going to purchase your products? Geography, that might be important. Where are your customers going to be located? Are you going to strictly sell locally, or do you plan to sell, nationally or internationally? And also frequency and purchase. Is this something that people you want people to buy on a monthly basis? So maybe you can set up a subscription service, or is this something where people just buy once and they're done and they never come back to you? Therefore, you have to constantly get new customers as opposed to repeat customers. Perhaps you have a proof of concept, which in marketing terms means that you've had previous sales revenue. In other words, you did launch a business, maybe part-time, and you are making some sales, which is very good. So it shows investors that there is perhaps a market out there for your goods or services. You should probably do some sort of competitive analysis. You kind of did that a little bit in industry analysis. Just be aware that in business plans, certain things will be repetitive, and that's okay. But in this case, you want to do a competitive analysis. So you pick 3, maybe 5 competitors, and you sit down and do a chart, and you figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are. Marketing strategy is the famous 4 Ps in marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. So your product here, you want to describe what is your good and service, particularly the features and the benefits. Price, you want to discuss the value proposition. In other words, you're explaining why your product is better. And better is not necessarily cheaper. If you do have a better product, you could justify a higher price if you're justifying that it is a better product. Place, you want to pick places where it's convenient for customers and that it's available. If you're planning to strictly sell on a website, I don't recommend that you advertise products on your website and they're sold out. If you're going to do that, at least have a date on when you're going to replenish your supply. But just make sure that if someone wants to buy something, that it's available, and it's always available, whether it's in a retail store or on your own website. And then, of course, you should have some sort of advertising and selling plan, so people are aware that you are out there and that what you offer and why your product is better than other options. Now we're on to number 5, the operating plan. And this is where you're actually mapping out all the little details, all the little aspects of your business, from making the good, providing the service, to delivering and purchase by the customer and buyer. So this is where all the details of running a business is planned out. This way you have to figure out, okay, what raw materials I need, what supplies do I need? So who are my reliable vendors, my reliable suppliers, reliable manufacturers? Do I have dependable service providers that are extremely crucial or essential to my business operations? And also, maybe you need a sales force. So maybe you need salespeople, sales agents. Organizational design means, what are the management's responsibilities? Now, if you're the only if you're the only founder, you're the only entrepreneur, then of course all the management responsibility will be yours. Financial, operations, marketing. But if you're going into business with a couple of friends or maybe a couple of family members, you want to divide those management responsibilities according to function. Somebody handles the marketing, maybe someone handles sales, someone handles the website, someone handles the suppliers. You decide. Maybe someone handles the financing. That's where organizational design would come in. Perhaps if you're planning to hire people initially, you should have some sort of hiring, wage, and benefit policies. Any kind of office and technology requirements would be helpful. Any kind of customer service and support, at least at a bare minimum, have an email address so customers can contact you with any issues or concerns or any questions about the products that you're offering. And there are several type of ownership options out there. You have sole proprietorship, which would be perfect for somebody like yourself, who you're the only one starting the business, so you would be a sole proprietor. Again, if you're planning to be in business with other people, again, family, friends, you can certainly pick general partnership, or you can pick a limited liability company. Number six would be the management team. And here you would provide either a brief biography or perhaps resumes uh, of yourself or anybody you're going into business with, your co-founders. And this information would contain your education, any certifications, licenses. You definitely want to highlight industry experience, and you definitely want to highlight any management positions at previous employers. Is very, very helpful towards, again, people having trust in you to be able to manage this new business. You may want to think about having some sort of a board of advisors or directors. Good people to have on these boards would be like a lawyer or an accountant, certainly your investors, perhaps a banker, any mentors, and certainly other industry experts. And the final aspect of your business plan, which most people struggle with, is the financial plan. In other words, you want to analyze, you want to do your income statements for the first 5 years. You want to figure out what your startup costs are, your net present value, your rate of return, your sources of startup funds, which would be you, any co-founders, maybe family, friends, certainly banks, and any exit strategy. So for this particular part of your business plan, I suggest you watch my video titled, "Is Your Business Idea a Good Investment?" And that's the end of this presentation. If you have any questions or comments, please use the comment section. Please subscribe to my channel for more educational content about entrepreneurship. And thank you very much for watching.